Next, let's look at one of the greatest of the literary prophets, Jeremiah. There is even a term called a Jeremiad that derives from his name. A Jeremiad is a more formal term for the bad news that prophets must often utter. Some of the prophecies of Jeremiah were directed to the two remaining tribes in Judea, the southern kingdom. The geopolitical dynamic consisted of Judea being sandwiched between two surrounding powers, Babylonia, the most powerful, and Egypt, who some felt was growing in strength. When you are a smaller and weaker nation, it is customary to have to pay tribute to more powerful nations. Pause me and take a few minutes to read the verses from Jeremiah on this slide. Well, Jeremiah is trying to convince leadership not to follow false prophets. At the time, there was a choice between paying tribute to Egypt or to Babylonia. Ideally, for a people in a covenantal relationship, tribute should be paid to God. Jeremiah is warning the king not to pay tribute to Egypt, but to God. But in the reality of geopolitics, if tribute must be paid, Jeremiah suggested it be given to Babylonia. Did the king listen to Jeremiah? Of course not. The role of prophet can be a horrible calling, having to continually utter the truth when few want to listen. It is said that Jeremiah was buried to his neck and left to die. He also stated that cursed was the day when my parents conceived me. How tortured such a job of truth-telling must be. What will happen would be another catastrophe for the Jews, the Babylonian exile, eviction from the southern kingdom, and Solomon's temple destroyed. This slide raises the question of true and false prophets. What's the difference? In one sense, a true prophet is speaking the words of God, while a false prophet is not. The former can be judged by the fruits of their utterances. In this context, Jeremiah turned out to be a true prophet. There was another man at the same time also claiming to be a prophet and wanting the king to pay tribute to Egypt. A few more themes from this slide include two modern individuals, Martin Luther King and Al Gore. Why? Well, prophets and the prophetic principle is one of the greatest gifts that the Jewish tradition has given to humanity. MLK definitely played a prophetic role during the civil rights movement. And time will tell whether Al Gore can be considered a prophet for bringing the phenomenon of climate change to a larger public about a decade ago. Lastly, why the heart on this slide? Among the numerous prophetic themes found in the book of Jeremiah and Lamentations is also found a different understanding of covenant. Covenant being a two-way agreement that can be more tribal with Abraham, or legal with Moses and the Torah, or national with Israel, Judea. Covenant can also be understood as more personal, a relationship with God written on the heart. This more personal nature of covenant will prove useful, considering the crisis of the Babylonian exile.